That's fine. Good evening and welcome to the Standards of Geekness podcast. I am Rockhard Evan Jones.
You've been taking that enforced to, haven't you?
Hey, when the sponsor demands you use the product because you're the only one on the team that hasn't.
Well, I'm sure your wife was happy about that. How you guys doing? I'm Brian Mercer. Happy to join the cast or the podcast. Pod? Cast of the pod.
Cast of the
I'm here.
pod. All right, guys. Well, this week's kind of interesting because there are some bright spots. I'm not going to completely shit all over everything. But honestly,
That's my.
this week was really trying as a wrestling fan. Not only was Monday Night Raw just kind of average, SmackDown continued to me. There's a couple of cool things, but there was a continuation of the spillover show effect. Honestly, NXT was more compelling this week out of anything, with Moose showing up there. Dynamite was solid. Collision was shit. Like, just all around just a shit show. AEW continues to suffer from Tony, not really understanding what to do with his action figures, wrestlers. And I've tried to be really positive. You guys know when it comes to AEW, Brian and I, we were all in, big supporters. God damn, they are trying me, man.
I don't think at this point. I mean, you kind of get to a point where you almost. I think back to WCW and when Vince Russo came in, and while I don't like what the overall direction he went in was, there was a point where they kind of hit that reset button. They took a week off. They came back. They reset and tried to make things fresh again. And I think that's kind of the point I'm at with AEW. I feel like I need a reset almost.
I kind of dread watching it. Like, honestly, every time I turn on a Max, I kind of dread watching it. There are characters on there that I do care for, that I enjoy. MJF, Hangman, Tony Storm. There's and so many others. There's potential there. It's just not being utilized. I personally think Tony needs to hire somebody that actually knows what they're doing when it comes to booking a wrestling promotion, that has a proven track record, and can develop stars. He's not the guy. I'm sorry. I'm thankful he brought AEW run. He made wrestling better because of it. But you need to step back, homie. You need to step back.
Agreed.
And WWE, far from perfect this week. I mean, like I said, we had Dwayne "The Rock" Hogan coming in, and
all there for himself. I mentioned this to you before we started tonight. I'm so over Dwayne popping up in Mania season and making it about him. Like,
yeah, and like, hey Daniel.
There are guys who work all year long. There are guys who work all year long to get to that WrestleMania spotlight, to be able to have their time as the in the main event. Like, and it really aggravates me because like Dwayne's had his time in that spotlight, and I mean, really, the match against Cena should have been the passing of the torch. And I'm not saying that no, we never want to see Rocky again, but I am saying like
he doesn't need to be involved.
If you're gonna be here, be here. If you're gonna be here, be here.
To me, this, for all the claims against Hogan, against Jarrett, against Russo, about the vanity and the ego, this was and exercise an ego. I mean, you're coming out there, you pull Cody from the 6-man, which you don't even bother to replace him. You just make it a normal tag match, which what the fuck ever. I know shit happens, but now you've built up to The Rock being there. You've advertised it on social media. I am concerned that Cody's reign was already like teetering here. I think they need a hard reset when it comes to that too.
Well,
The whole
some
I'm
like
not here for your title thing. I'm here for your soul. Like, first of all, that's gimmick infringement. Undertaker's gonna be mad.
Shane Stung's gonna be mad.
Yeah,
Like
sold is not.
I was getting Mortal Kombat vibes from that. Just going, what the hell? Like, Luke Kang this? Like what?
And I've seen several people try to like hype it up as it's The Rock. It's gonna be a misdirect. It's gonna be sort of sure. I hope it is. I hope it's something that captivates the audience. I hope it matters because matches are getting cut. People are losing out on opportunity because Dwayne decides to show up on a random Friday night wanting to hype shit up or a random Monday night during Mania season. Um, we will not be participating in the bring back Vince Russo trend. I'm gonna, let's join Jim Cornette and pissing on his grave.
Yeah, I won't be
That's,
signing that petition.
I just, my whole thing is, I have a feeling I know where this is going, given that the chamber is final now. I'm pretty sure we're getting Cena or CM Punk winning the chamber, and then turning heel and joining Cody after he refuses The Rock at Mania. We're gonna get I forget which it was 17 or 19 where Austin turned heel and joined McMahon. I think it's the same thing. I think we're gonna get a corporate ministry 2.0, Ethan Page, and all these. It'll be a faction. Cody will have to be on the chase again. He'll have to, maybe it'll lead to Roman Reigns versus The Rock as an actual match. Which with that match, you guys need to shit or get off the pot too. Like I'm fucking do it or don't. I'm tired of hearing about it. I don't give a fuck. Like it's not to make this a bitch session, but we care on because we love professional wrestling. And honestly, it's frustrating from my standpoint just having to watch it. But anyways, enough bitching. Let's get into what was good. There's probably gonna be bitching later. So Sami
Well,
Zayn, go ahead.
yeah, like someone's never seen our podcast before. All we do is bitch. Let's be real about it. We know that we bitch a lot. We
Yeah,
can be honest about it.
we do complain a lot, but like I like to think that we provide perspective on it too. And like I just don't want to bitch all the time. It's just I had to get that whole thing with Dwayne off my chest.
Understandable. I'm
But
right there with you, brother.
I'm say it as a fan of his. I enjoy his work. I enjoy most of his movies that aren't complete shit. Um, but yeah, so Sami Zayn came back this week, cut a promo on KO, wanted the match. Adam Pearce wasn't going to give him to him, but now we're getting an unsanctioned match at Elimination Chamber in Montreal. This is literally Deadpool 2 with the lazy writing look down in the fourth wall in the camera. What fresh thing can we get from KO and Sami at this point? Like, is maybe a double knockout where they both are incapacitated and have to be stretchered out of the arena?
I mean, the only thing that I can think is like possibly they were trying to do some fan service to Canadian fans. Like I really have tried to look at this one and see positives in it, but it's been done so many times. Like this match has just been done to death.
Yeah, like I really hope that this is the last time those two face off for a very long time. It's good promo work. They both did great promo work with KO doing a promo stalking Sami and his family in his house this week. That was actually really clever. I enjoyed that. And I'm sure it'll be entertaining to a degree. I'm just over it at this point. Um, Cena makes the most sense to me, but I could also see the whole favor with Punk hanging out there thing is lingering, which also another example of lazy writing where they're just kind of like, will they, won't they? Well, yeah, it's because Kevin Owens actually wrestles in EFED under the masked name of El Cabano, El Spino. uh, yeah, I just, it was solid work, and I'm at least interested. They've got my interest peaked, but I need something new from them.
Well, I don't think that's gonna happen, brother.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Sammy's gonna go over, but the way they're building it.
I mean, why not? Why not job out Kevin Owens some more? I mean, at this point,
Yeah.
he's got
Gunther
no
entered.
stock.
Gunther entering through the crowd, mocking Jey Uso's entrance was actually pretty entertaining this week. I'll give them gold star for that. They had a good brawl. I'm sold on the match. I'm not sold as a main event. I'm just not. It doesn't feel like a main event match.
No, it feels like the world title match that should be going on at Elimination Chamber.
Yes.
I'm right there with you. I still don't feel like a match. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Gunther or Jey Uso, but like realistically, you're trying to book them against stars like Cena, like The Rock, like Cody. You're trying to put them on that level. They're not. Like you can't just artificially inflate someone to be at at, at that level. Like there's never been a Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know what I mean? You can't just say, "Oh well, this guy's." Great. That's not how that works.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree with that assessment too. I mean, that's why I really think that we're probably getting CM Punk cashing in that favor on Jey Uso, either making the match a triple threat or using it in the middle of the match or after the match to cash in for a match against Jay after he wins. That way, Jay gets his win, becomes a world champion. Punk gets his Mania main event, kills two birds, one stone. It gets Punk mega heel heat. It builds Jay up for another chase. That way, eventually down the line, they can do something, or maybe even sets up Roman. I don't know. Um, Roman Punk is another money match, but yeah, these guys. It's I hate using the term B plus player, even though I jokingly used it about Daniel and Efed. Um, that's what this feels like. It feels like they're stars, but they're not superstars.
100%
I will
agree.
give them credit for one thing though. They are really protecting Penta. You know how they're building him. They're doing a really good job with that. I'll give Triple H credit there. Um, so the women's match this week with Raquel and Roxanne, solid match. Bianca and Naomi coming out to attack makes sense given the video footage we saw on SmackDown the week before, where it showed Raquel and Liv walking away from the scene of Jade's accident. I still think we're getting a swerve coming from where it's going to be Bianca and Naomi who did that, kind of like how Triple H took out Austin. Um, when the Rikishi tried to drive the car over him, that kind of angle.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the type of swerve we're getting. Um, I'm kind of here for it because I think Bianca could use a reset too, as a heel, and it would build Jade back up as a babyface when she comes back. Yeah,
I
see
was really disappointed. I was really disappointed in this whole thing with Jade. I really thought was going to be a long term way to turn Bianca heel. I was really all for that. I'm kind of disappointed in this.
yeah. Well,
Like,
I think
oh,
that's what we're gonna
Liv and
get.
Raquel. Wow, great.
I think the Liv and Raquel thing is part of the swerve. I think it was intentionally, done that way. I think that they're leading it. But yeah, Daniel, Brian and I both basically feel this Mania this year feels very weak and lackluster. We've had two
Mm-hmm.
solid Manias 2 years before. This honestly reminds me of forget what number Mania it was, but the Mania in 2021.
reminds me of WrestleMania 13,
Yeah,
where you had a situation in the main event where you didn't know what the main event was going to be. Like even on the Raw before Mania, they were like potentially changing the match,
yeah.
and
I mean, there's a few solid stories, but like nothing compelling. Overall, it just feels like I feel like The Rock came in and disrupted plans. I think they had plans firmly in place, and Triple H had to. Well, that'll be
well,
a
no,
kick in the
I
groin.
think it feels like more than that though. It feels like there were plans, and then The Rock screwed up those plans, and then there were new plans that were made and started going forward, and then The Rock showed up again and screwed up those plans. Like it really does feel like The Rock has fucked with this Mania season multiple times over.
Yeah. Funny enough, you mentioned this before we went live. How Mania season this year kind of felt like WrestleMania 27.
That's
Daniel
right.
said, "The Rock
Well,
has just fucked you multiple times."
well, okay. So what I got so pissed off about was WrestleMania 27, and like I was there for that. So like I've only ever been to one WrestleMania, and it was 27. You know, there are a lot of wrestling fans that never get to go to one, or they only get to go to one, and so that show to them, the one they go to, is always going to be important. It's always going to be special. It's your time to be at the wrestling mecca. You know what I mean? And to
Yeah,
have the main event turn into a commercial for Mania a year later really just makes everyone that bought a ticket go, "Wow, I'm just a piece of shit." Like you have no respect for me. I paid for the ticket to the big show. I came from wherever the fuck in the world to be at this show just so that you could tell me that I am actually at the wrong show and I need to be at WrestleMania next year.
yeah,
Fuck off.
no, that really pissed me off. That's probably the only Mania season where I didn't actually watch it live. I just caught a replay later. Like I was just really mad, and then the whole thing where it's like, we're gonna hype up a match a year from now, and then another match 2 years from now. Okay, fuck you. And like the thing is, Mania isn't cheap. Um,
Nope.
I mean, you're not wrong, Dan. There, I think Rock is trying to rehabilitate his image. I think he's just doing it wrong. um, he's he's using WWE to keep relevant and be treated. Yeah, I mean, it is a nice little echo chamber. That
The
said,
Rock
Rock
can't
has
decide if
landed
he
a
wants
really
to.
big role with Scorsese in a Hawaiian crime drama, so it'll be his biggest acting challenge today.
But it's really frustrating because he goes like, okay, tell me this isn't how you took this. The Rock goes and like films Moana 2 where he plays Maui and he's a Disney character and a happy good guy or whatever. Or the Moana live action movie, excuse me. And okay, so he's playing Maui, so he has to be a good guy. So he comes out on the January 6th Netflix Raw and is all, "I'm good guy Rock. There's my buddy Cody Rhodes. Hey." And then we hear that he's going to be playing a mafia like crime boss in a Scorsese movie. And then, okay, now that I'm playing this mafia crime boss, now I can show back up on WWE TV and be the final boss again.
Yeah,
Even though I pretty much buried that character 5-6 weeks ago.
yep. Well, and the thing is like the promo he was doing with Cody's, he wasn't sure if he seemed like he was being a babyface or a heel. He was flip flopping. I guess he was trying to maybe feed off the fans, but like honestly, pick a lane, bro. Just pick a fucking lane.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, Rollins versus Balor, they had a really good match. I'm kind of at the point with Finn though, where it's kind of like KO. How many more times
Hold
does
on.
he have to lose an opportunity?
I did want to. I just remembered. I wanted to bring this up before we leave the Rock conversation. Okay, this happened on SmackDown. I just had to like vocalize it because I was just like, wow, like what a world we live in. There's a moment where The Rock looks out into the fans. He points at this girl and he goes, "You shut the hell up before I come out there and slap the chlamydia off your face."
Oh, the syphilis
And
thing.
then or the syphilis off your face, and whatever STD. And then they showed her. They showed the girl that he was talking about in the audience, and she was like, "Yeah, woo! He says he's gonna slap the STD off my face, woo!" That's your 15 minutes, sweetie. I just wanted you to know that. Okay, we can move on now.
Yeah. You kind of how you feel with Kevin Owens is how I feel with Finn Balor. Um, every title opportunity outside of the tag titles he's been involved in, he's lost. Even the number one
Mm-hmm.
contenders qualifier matches, he's lost.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is eventually leading to the Judgment Day turning on him at some point. Um, it, I'm just, it's in the same boat as KO. I'm just not sure what good is it? Send him back. You gonna send him back to NXT for the third time?
Okay, real question. Real question. Can you kick Finn Balor of the Judgment Day? If Finn Balor is out of the Judgment Day, is it still the Judgment Day? It's that shittiest thing, man. We've replaced it with all new parts.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and especially with the impending return of Aleister Black, which has to be happening at this point. I would be shocked if he doesn't appear at the Elimination Chamber.
Mania. Hold him for Mania. There's no way you're going to be able to. The Mania right now is too, like, with what they have already, there's too many moving parts, many things you've already done. Let Al Black have a big Mania moment return. And I would actually, brought up Finn Balor, I would love to see Aleister Black attack Balor and go
Well,
into
that's
a Balor program.
yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Either at Elimination Chamber or like at Mania, is have Black come back, have it be a reboot for the Judgment Day. Like have them get meaner, nastier, more violent than they were before. Kind of do what House of Black was supposed to do. But since Tony can't book his, at all either, um, I
I kind of feel that way. But while we're talking about the Judgment Day, I really think we got to talk about Carlito a little bit here because Carlito has been booked to be a joke. Like Dom, Dom is, he's booked as kind of a weak character, but because of his cheating and stuff, he gets the W's. Cool, I'm down with it. Um, Kind of the same thing for JD McDonough, but Carlito has been really been portrayed as nothing more than a over the hill jobber.
you're not wrong. I
Like,
mean,
and it's sad because Carlito is a fantastic worker.
Rusev and no, I would rather they just ban the day. Rusev / Miro does not need to be part of that faction.
No, bring back Rusev Day. Honest to God, I think that is the move. I
Bring back
think
Beta
you
English.
start.
Bring back Rusev Day. That got over organically. It'll get over again.
Yep, in a second. Like you could just at any moment, all of a sudden, it's Rusev Day. Holy shit! It would be a huge pop.
Well, and it wouldn't shock me if the two big returns at Mania this year are Rusev and Aleister Black. They're both free and clear. Miro just popped up in Qatar, losing a championship match to Alberto Del Rio. Like, why not? I think WWE's problem is they're kind of back to the square one of they almost have too much talent, but AEW's in the same boat. But
Mm-hmm. Well, professional wrestling is an abundance of riches right now. I mean, that's part of the issue. Is like we all have our favorites that we want to see in those big spots, and there just aren't enough big spots for all those guys. I mean, it's just the way that it is.
Time out, Daniel.
Oh, Daniel, Daniel,
Back
Daniel.
to our regularly scheduled program. We'll pull up Mark comments later. Um, so yeah, honestly, that was the highlights of Raw, and SmackDown was kind of like meh. Um, the women's IC title at this point is a fucking joke. The U.S. title's barely a blip above that. I don't understand what was the point of making those titles if you're not going to have them be relevant. You're not giving the women. You're only featuring like 6 to 8 women on average.
Well, we came out of the Royal Rumble, the Women's Royal Rumble, saying, the Piper Niven Chelsea was some of the best forward-looking stuff
And
in the
nothing.
division, and here we are with nothing from it. Like you got, like I mean, we don't see that match yet. Obviously, we want that match at Mania, but you got to keep giving us the little bits to build up that. It's a story.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not reading that, Daniel. Nobody wants to bring back Eric Bischoff. Stop trying to bring people back that don't. No.
Okay, you know what, Daniel? I'm willing to have this conversation with you a little bit later. So be ready. But you've talked about bringing back Vince Russo. You've talked about bringing back Eric Bischoff. You keep talking about bringing these guys back. I think that's a horrible idea. If for no other reason than what are they going to contribute now that they already haven't tried to contribute in the past?
Yeah. I
Like
completely agree.
realistically, the best thing right now is the fact that Triple H is in charge of a lot of the majority of the booking, um, because he was a worker. Like that's why this is working right now is because he's taking like tried and tested ideas and using them. Period. End of story. The way that Vince Russo or Eric Bischoff did business was not to use time tested successful formulas. It was to try and
Shock
shake it
and
up,
awe.
shake it up, shake it up.
The thing is it's like the shake and bake Drake mix chicken. You know, you shake and shake and shake. Eventually, it's gonna get coated and it's done. Put it in the oven. You can't keep shaking. You just can't. You got to have something to have a finished product.
Yeah.
AEW this week, you know, had some bright spots. MJF and Hangman had a really good promo segment. They've got a match at Revolution. I'm excited to see the five years worth of hatred and animosity come out. It seemed real, which intrigued me. Um, Powerhouse Hobbs had a great street fight versus Big Bill. I was a little confused as to why the ROH World Heavyweight Champion Chris Jericho was main eventing AEW Collision and not, the ROH show. I just, I, it speaks to a lackadaisical, lazy booking style. Like, oh yeah, we need to get Jericho on here. It'll pop a rating. Okay, you'll pop what 400,000 people on a Saturday night competing against All Star Weekend for the NBA and NHL. Look, fucking dumbass. Uh, I'm glad that they have timeless Tony Storm back. The promos she cut this week were actually pretty interesting. She has this magnificent way of using like dirty double entendres to like deliver her points. So I'm willing to hear this out. Um, it looks like we're getting Mariah May versus Tony Storm 3. Um, I don't know who should win in that situation.
It's
I
the most consistent good booking, or not necessarily good booking, but like not flawless by any means, but at least it's been a compelling story that's been consistently told on television. That's probably the best thing they have going, honestly. At this
Yep,
moment, it's the most fluid thing that doesn't come off as contrived. Like
yep.
it's hard. Like I'm not trying to down on MJF, but like realistically, there's nothing new.
It's
Like
Well, same shit for
it's
5 years. He became a babyface at one point, and they managed to shit that away. I
mm-hmm.
mean, I'm pretty sure Tony Storm's going to go over in their third match. I think we are going to get Mercedes Moné versus Tony Storm at some point in the near future. Probably leading into the summer.
That's probably I would guess that's an all-out match.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I will give them props. They are booking Harley Cameron and utilizing her in a slow burn kind of way now. She's definitely over with the fans. I still think she should have won in her home country. Um, she, I don't see what value Mercedes Moné is bringing to the belt at this point. She's got 4 different belts. She's all over the place. She's not a compelling character. It's still Sasha Banks. It's just a different name. And I don't know.
That's I think you just hit the nail on the head right there. It's Sasha Banks. It's like you can call her whatever you want, but it's Sasha Banks,
well,
and we're not getting. And what we all really want is we really just look. Be realistic about it. We all just want her to go back to WWE.
yeah. Well, her promo style just is very WWE, and like it almost comes off cartoonish. And she ain't it, man. She ain't it. I think she's the weakest of the 4 horsemen in terms of promo skill. And in wrestling ability, she's got some wrestling chops. I'll give her that. But as a complete package, I think she's the weakest one. Bailey is at
I
least
don't
good
think
in the ring and solid on the mic. Charlotte's good in the ring, solid on the mic. Becky's very good on the mic, okay in the ring.
I don't. I don't think that was necessarily always the case.
No,
You
it's
know what I
taken time
mean?
to get
But
there. But like,
you know the other three. You mentioned the other three, and they've all been in. I'm sorry, but a higher tier environment and working against higher tiered uh, opponents. So they have to bring their game up that much more. Mercedes Monet is uh,
no.
put in this like super safe position, and it's honestly frustrating. Like Mercedes Monet, to me, in AEW, is what Charlotte Flair has become for WWE. I just don't care anymore.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'd argue that like it's funny enough. Women's evolution. When they all first hit the scene, Sasha was the most complete of the characters. She had more depth to her. The other 4 hadn't figured out their footing. Like Charlotte was still trying to figure out if she's trying to be her dad, trying to be her own person. Becky wasn't the man. Bailey wasn't, Bailey. They've all
She
figured it
was
out.
still there, happy,
The
inflatable,
man,
wacky face, 2 man.
Becky honestly probably should have been the next. They dropped an opportunity to make her a megastar. She's still a megastar, but like she could have been the next Stone Cold Steve Austin had they booked her correctly.
She had a
Like,
lot of momentum, but um, there to be that megastar, you need that there's a certain amount of like one liner kind of ability that you need to have.
yeah, you gotta
You
have the
know,
ability to land a one liner and have some aura behind it to boost you.
yeah,
And
and
Becky's figured out most of
she
that puzzle, but not all of it.
not all of it. She came real close, but she didn't get it all.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if that was her or if that was just like Vince's bad booking.
I do
It's like
think
they
it.
pulled
Well, I
her off.
do think though it speaks a lot to the use of blood in professional wrestling. You think about like it was Becky's broken nose. It was also, I will grant you that Stone Cold was Stone Cold after the King of the Ring, but there was something about that Bret Hart match and him like passing out in a pool of his own blood to the sharpshooter that like that took him to a whole nother level.
Agreed, and
And
it didn't the same. And
we really need
ba-
use of blood in
Bailey
wrestling.
is gotten to a level where she's really good on the mic, really good in the ring. She's evolved her character to where she's got all three facets of her game. Charlotte has finally figured out that she's going to be her dad. She's at least compelling enough into where she's got the legacy behind her. She's carving a path that way. We at least know she's not completely mid.
I was watching some old WCW this week, and I think the issue that I'm having with Charlotte, and that she could look Flair, whether he was a baby face or a heel, right? He'd come out there and he looked like he was having a good time.
She looks miserable.
You know what I mean? She does. Like
the fact, like anytime, when she sat in the ring and cut that promo on Tiffany, like she just cut it as a person that was like, to me, it came across as just angry having to be out there.
Yep.
Like, and not in the condescending, like, oh, I'm so much better than you, but more of like a, why do I have to be out here kind of thing. Like I'm too good for this, but like also like she's just kind of over it. Like she's checked out.
Reminded me of the title swap with Becky Lynch.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. And Daniel hit the nail on the head here. Mercedes Moné, she's not elevating the title. She's not devaluing it. She's just mid. And it's still Sasha Banks. She hasn't evolved her character in any way. She's just changed the fucking taglines. Like, you can polish up a turd or a car. It's still a turd or a car. So I don't know if you caught Megan Bayne versus Chris Statlander's match this past week on Dynamite.
I did not.
So you know how we always joke about big meaty men slapping meat? Well, this was, the female version of it, as I would equate it to. These women are both extremely talented. Don't get me wrong. They're impressive. They're larger than some of the men on the roster. Megan Bayne, if they do this right, she could become a superstar. She's got the presence. She has the aura. I get Brock Lesnar vibes, like female Brock Lesnar vibes. Like I said a few weeks ago, definitely still get that. I don't know if she can cut a promo. That said, get her a manager. Or pair her with another talent that can.
I'm available.
There you go, Tony. Hire Ryan Mercer to manage Megan Bayne.
Manager of champions, man. I've managed several champions. Let's go.
But yeah, honestly, the rest of AEW this week, I just wasn't feeling. I'm at the point where with this Death Riders rated FTR situation, something needs to happen that changes the dynamic here.
I am so bored.
They look, I don't know, they seem like they're having fun with it, like on screen, but like I'm just like, how are you guys like taking this seriously? Like he's gonna take out the Death Riders one by one, and that's how he'll win the world championship. But like, what is this thing that Moxley and them are trying to do? They still haven't fucking sold me on that. Like
they're here to save AEW from
Tony Khan secretly meeting with Shane McMahon and refusing to give him equity in the company, which was a smart idea. Yes. Tony, don't get me wrong. You hit the nail on the head. Boring. Ricochet as a heel has been okay. They're keeping the Swerve feud alive. He stole Prince Nana's robe because, it means a lot to him, I guess. They didn't really do a good job of convincing me as to why I should care about that, but I don't know. Just
the Ricochet Prince Nana stuff I really felt should have ended after that match. Like he had I'm sorry, like I like him stealing the robe, but this could have been one of those where like I would have come back to it like in a month or so, but I would have let him just kind of marinate in that heat that he had developed. Like
Yeah.
let him just be a bad guy for a little bit before you have to bring in the next chapter of this story. Like
Hmm.
some stories, you need to give a chance to breathe, and
Yeah,
that's the way I feel with this one.
yeah, that's honestly where they're failing with a lot of their stuff. They're just not giving anything a chance to breathe. And like, I want to see how this match goes. I'm kind of hoping Ricochet works a slightly different style. Maybe refuse to do the flippies in the the spots, the heavy spots where you're doing like chain flipping. Maybe do some chain wrestling. We know you're capable of it. Switch it up.
Hmm.
Um, do fucking better. I don't know. Better be careful. I don't want another angry wrestler in my Instagram DMs. um, and then yeah, honestly, the Callis family, Kenny Omega stuff, they're still going on with that. Um, I have a feeling we're getting Kenny Omega versus Okada at some point for the Intercontinental or International belt or whatever it's called. And Takeshi is going to face Jay White down the line is my guess. They're setting or not Jay White, Orange Cassidy. Um, I don't know. Just Collision was really bad this week in my opinion. I want better for professional wrestling, and it feels like both Triple H and Tony kind of let us down.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Wow. Um, wow. Can't unread that.
Can't unread that, but yeah, I can't unread that.
Oh man, Daniel, bring back hog pen
Challenge.
matches
I mean, I'm
and
fine bringing back
scaffolding matches while we're at it. Like let's bring back every terrible idea that professional wrestling has ever had. I'm personally waiting to have a Judy Bagwell on a forklift match myself.
and it's Daniel's mom on a forklift match. I guess so. Like, since we're bored with this, is it just us, or what do you guys out there in the audience think? Let us know what you think. Do you think booking's going great? Do you agree with the decisions? Like, I mean, the last time this kind of thing happened, Ethan spiked. I'm just saying.
Yep.
Honestly, I feel like we could dedicate a whole episode to just like that's already been done.
You can't just put the tits on the pole. That doesn't work.
It's got to be the whole person on the pole, Daniel. You can't just lob them off like that. But like, I feel like we could do a whole episode on like how to actually fix AEW. It might be an interesting challenge. I feel like we've done it recently, but
I feel like we've done it several times. At this point, I just wish Tony Khan would take some level of advice because God, it is really difficult to watch, to
yeah,
get involved in, to care about. Like, and that's
I
the
want to
problem
care.
is like, yeah, we want to care, and we tune in, and
My eyes,
there's
my
just
eyes.
not, there's no real draw to keep me. There's nothing on AEW television that makes me want to tune in next week. That's that's the real crux of it.
Yep.
I am not interested in what's going to happen next week, and that's ultimately what every show should leave you with: is what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, TNA's been pretty good lately. Um, seeing Obafemi pop up there to challenge Moose in the system to a triple or a six man with the Hardy Boys is interesting. We're getting the Hardy Boys on NXT this upcoming, tomorrow night. Um,
I'm really looking forward to Moose Obafemi one on one. Like, I mean, obviously that's coming. I think now. I think we can all agree that that's on the docket at some point now, and
Yeah,
that's one of
they're
those. Give me
they're supposed
two
to
big, huge men slapping meat.
be title for title either tonight or tomorrow night
I thought it was
or
next
at the
week.
next NXT pay per view. They've announced that it's supposed to be title for title, so it'll be really interesting. There's no way there's a clean finish.
No,
Um, oh, I know. Let's talk about the new version of the Shield they had pop up in NXT that attacked Obafemi because you know original ideas are apparently passe at this point. Um, it's a 4-man Shield, and they're all indie guys at this point, I think, or maybe they're NXT standouts or something. People they think have potential.
I mean if they're appearing on NXT, I highly doubt they're indie guys.
Well, they could be the WWE ID guys. I don't know how that works.
I don't know exactly what they're doing with all the WWE ID guys. My understanding is those guys are still just working other shows, but kind of have the ability to um, put some WWE logos on posters.
Hey, they do have title belts that are coming, but yeah, call them the Guard. Daniel said. Yeah, I mean, I'm I get trying to capitalize on something you think is cool. Read the fucking room though. Like maybe instead of doing that, maybe fix the rest of your product. They hired
Maybe.
Road Dogg back as one of the head of creatives for SmackDown. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I'm all because I mean they said it right. Like it doesn't matter what Road Dogg coming up with. Apparently Vince was changing huge things and on the fly. So like, why would you expect any storyline that anybody to come out good, cohesive when you have a madman at the helm? But just like just like Triple H, you know, I have in workers knowing how to tell a story, and I'm willing to give him a chance. Like good come out of NXT with BK there, good stuff WWE with Triple H. So let's keep the X run going. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I don't know.
I do. It's funny that D-Generation X, like the ultimate group of like anti-establishment guys, are the guys who are completely running the show now.
Yeah, there's a level of irony to that.
Cracks me up.
Wow. I don't know. Just maybe we need to do a gaming or a MCU or some type of podcast next week to shake things up because I feel like it's not that I'm unmotivated to talk about wrestling. I just feel like it's reaching a lull, which is weird in the middle of Mania season. Maybe after the Elimination Chamber, we'll
It,
have more to talk about.
well, it is kind of strange. This is usually the most fast-paced part of the year.
Yeah, and
It,
it's
it shouldn't. It shouldn't be a situation where we're, all right. What do we talk about now? But everything has become so bland, so passe. Things that we think we're supposed to be excited about because things keep changed all random by Dwayne and his ego.
just.
It makes it very hard to care.
I
It makes it
agree.
hard
I
to
mean,
care when you don't when you can't.
I think you might have frozen. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I'm back.
Oh,
I
there he
think
is.
maybe.
There
Am
you
I
are.
back?
I think.
I'm back.
Kind of. I hear you. There you are.
Sorry, guys. I'm out in the. I'm out. I'm not in my normal spot tonight. You can see by the ambiance. I I'm out away from home, so I apologize for the faulty connection.
Yeah. So yeah, Elimination Chambers this upcoming weekend too. So yeah, maybe we'll get something more compelling to talk about next week. I want to care about professional wrestling, and neither show is really drawing me in at this point. And at least AEW has been shit for a while now, so like it has that going for it, so it's at least consistent. But like WWE is supposed to be the infinitely better product, and honestly, it's on par at this point. Like
Yeah.
like you said, between Dwayne's ego shit and Triple H, we used to bash 50-50 booking and things like that, but like at least it was consistent. At least you knew what to expect. It was far more predictable, but you knew what to expect. And
I think there's a middle ground that can be reached there.
yeah, I
You know.
absolutely agree. I don't think that they're doing a good enough job. Like honestly, I want to. I'm curious how many tickets have been sold to WrestleMania there.
I mean, WrestleMania is always going to be a high selling show, but I I would actually be. I'm more concerned about next year's tickets than this year's tickets because a lot of this year's tickets have already been purchased. The tickets
Yeah,
get purchased a lot more based on the strength of the previous Mania. Last year's Mania was very strong. Therefore, the ticket sales for this year's Mania should be very good. However, next year's Mania, like I personally think it's a mistake to start like to do like they made the announcement on SmackDown this past week that WrestleMania next year is going to be in New Orleans. And while I get like they were in New Orleans and they wanted to make that announcement there because that's where they're at the same time, I'm just like, you're promoting next year's show before you even get this year's show out.
yep. Almost feels like this year's show is an afterthought. Well, and so
Kind of
I
like
was looking
WrestleMania
into
27.
yeah. Well, I was looking at so um the stadium in Vegas holds 51,000 seats. Let me reading this number quickly. Yeah. So yeah, they sold out of their 25,000 dual night allocation. And then they released another 20,000 per night were snapped up, but yeah, 45,000 tickets are sold for each night. But the stadium holds 51,000. It can expand to 60,000. So that's kind of a big condemnation of like. Anyways, uh, it's a condemnation, honestly, of the booking at this point. If you're this close to WrestleMania and you're still, 6 to 15,000 off of selling out, like obviously WrestleMania attendance has always been skewed and overstated in the past. The big reason a lot of people apparently are saying that they aren't buying tickets is because of the price. It's markedly
Oh
more
yeah.
expensive than it was 10 years ago, and which is
Oh yeah,
insane.
yeah. No, this is. It definitely feels like this is a show just for the rich and elite. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel like this is for your average wrestling fan at all, at all, and that's sad.
So sad. Like it just is. Uh,
State of the world, man. State of the world.
let's not go there. uh I could dunk on that all fucking day.
Well, brother, I hate to cut our podcast short, but you know that I am actually in a great deal of pain right now,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
I've reached my limit. I'm afraid. Last night
That's okay.
I worked a show, and you can all see I'm banged up. I got hurt last night wrestling. So I wasn't
All
even
right.
wrestling. To be honest, I wasn't even wrestling. I just got shoved over when the guy made his entrance and landed wrong.
Oh.
Anyway,
All right. Well, yeah, you rest up and you feel better. Yeah, we'll hopefully next week after the elimination chamber, we'll have a lot more to talk about. You guys know we don't like wasting a lot of time, and we got through everything we wanted to talk about. I mean, we could have sat here for another 2 hours probably bitching, and Brian would have been in a lot of pain. But I think this all solves a lot of problems. We've vented. Let us know what you think of this WrestleMania season in the comments on YouTube and on Twitch. And we're happy to discuss this next week.
and let us know what matches you'd like to see at WrestleMania. Apparently, this card is not set in stone. We can still do some fun fantasy booking. Let us know what you'd like to see because we'd like to hear it.
Yeah, no, we would. And I mean, I know we did a WrestleMania challenge a while back here, um, but like that's everything we mentioned is probably now completely changed or off the table. I don't think anything's locked in. Let us know
Yeah.
what your Mania matches are this year. All right. Well,
All right.
that's been fun. Uh, Make sure you go to enforce2.com, enter the code Standards of Greatness 25 for your 25% off. It'll make you HARD. Well, fitting. Have a good night, guys.